afternoon, Steve. How you going?
Good, Haydar. How are you?
Awesome, mate. Thank you. Thank you
That's
for
good.
joining me for a coffee.
No, well, I'm actually joining you for a water, if that's okay.
That's okay, mate. No problem. So you don't drink coffee?
Yeah, I do, but I've had my one for the day, so I don't need another one now.
I understand. How's things, mate? Long time no see.
Yeah, things are going good. The weather's
Yeah?
good. Canberra's always good, so good place to live. The weather's beautiful today. It's fantastic. Spring weather. Yeah, work is good. It's all good.
How long have you been in Canberra for? Yeah.
I moved here from Melbourne. I used to live in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Moved here in 1987.
Wow. All right. Well, we won't hold that against you, mate. That's
This is
fine.
this is home now. I know where I'd rather be, and it's here.
Well,
Good
at
place
the
to live.
moment, I agree with you, mate. Hey,
Yeah.
what were you doing before gyms?
Before gyms,
Yeah.
so I started with gyms in 2003.
Wow.
Probably much like many other Canberra people, I was a public servant before being a gyms
Yes.
franchisee.
Yes.
So I had 6 years at Department of Defence here in Canberra.
Awesome.
Before that, very much like you, and I've actually just come off watching the interview that you did with Bill. I used to work in the bank as well. I used to work for Westpac. Had 6 years with Westpac here in Canberra, and yeah, so 6 years in the bank, 6 years in the public service, and then joined gyms.
How did you find us at the time? And I remember how we first met, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
how did you find us?
I don't know the answer to that question, to be honest with you. I just know that over the years I had thought of doing my own business, having my own business, and
Yes.
gyms was always at the forefront of that thought process.
Yeah.
I'm probably not a systemsy sort of a guy, and so franchising is a good idea for me. So all that sort of stuff was done for me. The branding was there, all that sort of stuff. I didn't have to sort of tell people who I was, because I've got I've got this on my shirt. People know who I am, kind of thing, because I'm part of a bigger group. But yeah, so I didn't really have thoughts about joining anybody else. I did go to a seminar once where there was a couple of other franchises represented.
Yeah.
I think there was a seminar. It was Brumby's Bakery, there was Domino's Pizza, and there was a third one. And I can't think who the third one was, but they were all horrendously expensive. So yeah, gyms was always at the forefront of, if I was going to do something for myself, it was probably going to be gyms, and probably going to be gyms mowing, if the truth be known.
Oh, is that right? Oh, lucky us. So then you went to a cleaning seminar, and I think that's where we met. And we're in the lobby there. I remember that was, 12 years ago, whatever it was, but I still remember we sat down and we had a chat.
Yeah, so we were fortunate. I don't know who arranged it, but it was a gyms information evening. It wasn't gyms cleaning, it wasn't gyms mowing, it was a gyms information evening here in Canberra. Jim actually came up, and we all know that Jim hates traveling, so I don't know who twisted his arm to get to Canberra, but so there was, and I think I saw an ad in the local paper, in one of the newspapers here, or an advert. I thought I'll go along to that, and so fully thinking that I was heading towards the path of Jim's mowing.
Yep.
And then yeah, you got chatting to me after, and yeah, the rest is history. You sort of swayed me towards cleaning, which I'm really glad. I'm really glad you did, because yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want a big note cleaning against mowing. Maybe I should. I don't know. Very similar business models, aren't they? Like we've got regular clients. Mowing has regular clients. We've got one-off clients. Mowing has one-off clients. But the massive difference, certainly here in Canberra, is the seasonality. Mowing is very seasonal here in Canberra, and during spring and summer they are mentally busy. They're doing 8 days a week, 27 hours a day for about 3 months, and then the rest of the year it goes very quiet. So, and they're having to sort of look around for work, whereas cleaning is very connstant throughout the year. So I'm glad I went this way.
You're welcome.
I'll give you the $5 later on.
No, that's fine. So you started off as a franchisee and you did
Yep.
that for some time. And
Yep.
then the opportunity came up for you to take over the existing region. And there was so many franchisees, I can't remember the numbers. Can you remind me about that?
Yeah, so I kicked off, in fact, my first paid job was on my birthday in 2003.
Yeah.
It wasn't a job that I particularly enjoyed looking back on it, but it was a paid job, so I did it.
Yeah.
So 2003, about 3 years later, the opportunity came up to take on the region, like you said. So we want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, it was an opportunity. Then I'm sure it changed your life. So
Yeah,
it's
look,
probably good to talk
yeah,
about it.
it did. I never had any aspirations of becoming a franchisor. Just wasn't on the radar for me. Just wasn't at all on the radar whatsoever.
Yeah.
I didn't feel equipped, didn't feel able to do a
Wow.
franchisor role. But the franchisors at the time was a husband and wife couple. They had some issues of their own. There was some medical stuff going on. There was some argy-bargy marriagey stuff going on as well.
Yeah.
And so myself and the other, I think there was 3 other franchisees here at the time. We sort of I guess banded together. That's probably too strong a word, but we were sending emails to the franchisor at the time and getting rude responses or getting no responses back from them. And so we as a group approached, I'm not sure whether we came directly to you, whether we went straight to Jim, I'm not sure. But sort of said, look, we're paying franchise fees and not getting support from our franchisor. We kind of deserve better. And so I actually wrote the letter to Jim, basically saying, look, we're not getting what we need. And I think it was the following day they were asked to sell. And I absolutely don't take any credit for that. I don't think for a second that it was because of my letter that they were told to sell. I think there was probably some other stuff going on. I think Jim probably knew what was going on as well. They got told to, or asked to sell, and I effectively then bought the region off them. Once again, completely not. I did not complain about them. They probably think I did to try and pull the rug on them and take over from there. It absolutely wasn't my intent whatsoever. It was just the way we felt at the moment. We weren't getting what we were paying fees. We weren't just getting that support that we needed.
I remember that time very well because I was involved in those negotiations. And in fact, I flew up to meet with them and I spent some time with them. And, I quickly realized that, they had some issues and they really needed to move on or step down. So we kind of fully supported when someone like you came up to us and said, we need some help and you're willing to take over. We were excited about that because, to run a region from a distance, it's very, very hard. And to have someone local, we were actually very happy about that.
Yeah.
So, and I remember you were looking at taking over and you wanted to do it with one of the fellow franchisees at the time.
There was me and a guy called Bob. And Bob and I we got on really well. Bob was a good guy, had a great sense of humor. It was a good guy. You'd probably class him, and I think you would agree with this, as a battler. A good guy. And so he and I were looking at doing it together because we'd obviously talked about the whole situation, what was going on, and we said, well, why don't we do it together? Because once again, me not thinking I had the ability to do it on my own, full of or completely void of self-confidence. I always have been. And so I thought, well, there's no way I can do this myself. Let's bring Bob on just for some security for me, sort of thing. So that's what we were thinking of doing. You talked me out of that, and I'm forever grateful, because we would have had to split monies, and going into partnership with anybody, I think, is really, really, really dicey. And then really sadly, Bob got sick, and Bob actually died several years ago now. So that would have been really messy. It just would have been messy from a whole bunch of different reasons. He was at a very different stage of life to me as well. He's probably a good 10, 15, possibly 20 years older, probably not 20 years older than me, but he was considerably older than me. So we're at different different points of life. So it just wouldn't have been a good idea. As much as I thought it was going to be a good idea, it probably wouldn't have been. So yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
then I suppose that again deserves a you're welcome.
Holy dooly, I'm racking up fees as we keep going. Can we cut this message short? I'm not going to be able to afford the rest of this meeting.
That's okay. No worries. All right. So that was over 10 years ago, because I think we renewed your contract.
Yeah, so that was, we took over 2006. So yeah, it's 14 years ago.
Right. Okay, so 14 years ago.
Yep.
Has it lived up to your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, we took over in 2006. We took over with 3 franchisees. Where as of today, I'm looking after 22 cleaning franchisees. By the end of the month, there'll be 24, and probably early next month, there'll be 25. So, look, and you look at that over a 10, 14-year period, that's relatively slow growth. But for me, slow and steady is fine.
Yeah.
I once again have no aspirations to have 150 franchisees like Bill does, but 25 is good. I'll definitely have more, but look, absolutely has lived up to expectations, and probably more from the work-life balance more than anything.
Good. Fantastic.
So working from home, being able to go to kids' school events, being able to do some hobbies and things that I like doing on the side as well, and just have that flexibility of sort of thing. Both as a franchisee and as a franchisor. As a franchisee, when I was on the road cleaning, I have vivid memories of going to kids' school events, and I'd be the only dad there. I don't know why, but I remember the kids went ice skating, and I was able to go ice skating with the kids, during the middle of the day on a weekday. I'm the only dad there, and I was like, oh wow, how cool is this that I've been able to not book work in for this day, go ice skating with the kids. I was the only dad there being able to do it. So that to me is, it might be cheesy, but it's so nice.
That's good that you bring that up, because often I ring you and you would just tell me I just got home from a bike ride, or I just spent time in the shed doing some woodwork. That's all good things, and I'm proud that our business can actually offer those things to people if that's what they want to choose. That's awesome. And don't forget, you purchased some extra regions later on, and then you built them up and sold them. And I think Albury was one of those type of areas from memory. Yeah. So that's a big achievement on your behalf as well.
Yeah. So over the years, I've split off. We had I initially split off Wollongong and sold that to Sharon Connell. More recently, we'll come back to Sharon Connell in a minute. More recently, split off Albury Wodonga and passed it on to another franchisor. Have bought and sold windows and pressure cleaning, carpet cleaning. And now I've actually got a couple of blinds regions, as you know, as well now. So a bit of diversity in there over the years as well. So yeah, things change over years, but it's all been good fun.
Yeah, we're really proud of you for doing those things for us, and you're part of the whole recipe of our business. And sometimes you downplay your involvement or your skill level, and I just want to remind you that you're definitely on my A list. Not that I've got a B list, but you're part of my inner circle where I can always turn to you to get advice on the business and even personal stuff too. We've spoken about personal stuff over the years as well. But you're just one of those team players that keep me going, and keep the business going. And you come up with great ideas. And I'm sure you've had a go at doing the newsletter for a while. I don't know.
That's true. I did too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So you're just such a great person, man. I'm so happy that you're on the team. Really.
Thanks, Haydar. Appreciate that.
No problem. So it's lived up to your expectations, and certainly it's lived up to mine. You're definitely good value. All right. So I'll ask you a serious question here. What do you think your biggest strength is? And you might find this hard to answer, but I think I just answered some of it for you, but you might have to elaborate on it a little bit.
Yeah, look, I do. I absolutely struggle with that. I can rattle off a whole bunch of weaknesses, but Strengths. Look, I think. Look, I feel like I've got a good sense of humour, which I think gets me through a lot of stuff, and I'll probably deal with things with humour sometimes. Maybe I shouldn't, but I do. A sense of humour, and I think potentially a willingness to help to the point of helping too much sometimes, maybe helping franchisees and clients as well. Like, you know, go out of my way to help clients. You know, in fact, I'm doing a job tonight. I'm doing installing some new blinds in a customer's house tonight at 6 o'clock at night. That doesn't suit me. It suits them, but I'm doing it because I'm a good guy. You know, so little things like that. But yeah, franchisees. Yeah, I'd like to think that franchisees say I'm helpful.
They do. Yeah, when we survey them, they all come back with positive comments. You're definitely doing a good job there. Yes.
I'm certainly not as I'm probably not as in their face as what some other franchisors tend to be. Probably a lot more reactive than proactive, if I'm honest. But I know that if a franchisee rings me and says, "Hey, Steve, can you help me with this?" You know, I'll absolutely try to get onto it straight away. So, you know.
Good on you, champ. Thank you.
Cool.
Can you remember of a really good experience or a good memory in your journey that you could share with us? You know, like a Christmas party or a conference?
Well, I've already talked about the ice skating. So that's the ice skating one is a big one for me as far as a franchisee goes. I have these memories of you know, doing the stuff with the kids. That was cool. As far as a franchisor conference, one that really springs to mind that you may or may not remember is very early on, and I think it might have been our 2006 franchisor conference we had on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
It would have probably been my first as a franchisor. I came along, in fact, it was probably actually before I even officially took over as a franchisor here. And I distinctly remember coming along to that conference and being made to feel very welcome by some of the other franchisors, some of whom I think the ones that stand out for me are probably actually no longer in the group. But there was a couple of potential specific people that made me feel very, very welcome. And the other thing and this is really corny, the other thing I remember about that is we went upstairs into a motel and had teppanyaki, went out for Japanese for a teppanyaki restaurant.
Yep.
I had never ever had teppanyaki before, and I have never had teppanyaki since, but ever since then I've been saying we should go out for teppanyaki, and we've never done it. But I just really I had a really good time that conference, so that was good fun. Yeah, so
I remember that conference.
You do? Yeah. And the other one that was good was when we were at the Versace. At Versace, we had the conference at the Versace, and we all stayed there. And Janine came to that one, so that was even more special because Janine was able to share that with us. So, so that was good fun as well. But yeah, so they're probably the two.
Yeah, hopefully we can start doing them again. You know, recently we've been doing them in Melbourne, which they're okay. And there's been some good memories there as well. But if we do it at some exotic location, I think you'd have better memories from it, I think.
I guess it's tricky then to have a balance of party time and work time, because the conferences are work time, and then you don't want to sort of have that overshadowed by too much partying. But you know, maybe an exotic location, certainly helps with the experience, like you say.
Yeah. Well, years ago, we used to have the conference, and then after the conference, most people would stay on for an extra couple of days and try to make like an annual holiday out of it. And that's what we're missing out on.
Yeah.
All right. And I know you have got some very interesting hobbies. And I know one of them is bike riding, but you bike ride with a bike with a battery and an engine. That's a bit weird.
Well, look, Janine and I both have been into mountain biking for many, many, many years. We've done some really cool bike rides. We did a really nice bike ride in Italy years ago, which was awesome. I've done some mountain bike riding in America, in the States, which was fantastic, in Moab, which was just awesome. But a lot of stuff around Canberra. Canberra's fantastic for mountain bike riding. It's a great place to ride But more recently, and maybe it's an age thing, we've got into e-mountain biking, which is electric bikes. So I've got Janine and I both have got exactly the same bike, full suspension mountain bike, but it's just got a small electric motor in it, which just helps us old people get up the hills a bit easier. You still got a pedal. It's not a throttle, not like a motorbike. You still got a pedal, but the motor just gives that little bit of assistance. So yeah, that's good fun. It's good fun.
I'll have to look into that because to me it sounds like a bit of a cop out, like almost like a motorbike, really. But the way you explain it, it makes sense. Maybe it's just a little assistance.
It's just assistance. Yeah, they call it a pedal assist. So yeah, I absolutely would strongly suggest anybody who's take one for a ride. You'll get hooked pretty quickly. So
sure.
Yes,
and how about your wood turning? How's that going?
So yeah, the other thing I was into wood turning many years ago, and recently got back into it again. As much as I possibly can, I'll be out in the garage making dust. Everything in the garage now is covered in wood dust. We're in the process of building a separate shed out the side, like it's going to be a specific workroom, so we can just do woodworking in there and keep everything else clean and tidy. So so that's keeps us occupied, and it's a good thing. It's a good mental outlet to sort of be able to do something like that, forget about everything else and just concentrate on that thing that you're doing.
Are they gifts, like Christmas gifts, or you're going to sell them, or what's your intention with them?
Probably sell if I can, not to necessarily make profit out of it. Not too many people make a profit out of a massive profit out of wood turning, but if I can make some money out of the things that I make, and then pour that back into and be able to buy more wood or more tools or whatever, then that's the idea. It's more of a hobby than a money making device.
Good luck with that, mate.
Thank you.
Hey, why would I buy a franchise from your region?
Because I'm a good guy.
You are, but that's not enough.
Well, specifically, if you're specifically talking about Canberra,
yes.
Because my region is bigger than just Canberra, but if we're looking at Canberra, Canberra is a brilliant, fantastic place to run a small business. It really is. Any business people I talk to in Canberra, there's money to be made. There's lots of disposable income here. Lots of busy people, lots of sort of two-income families who might be both, career public servants, so they're busy during the week. From a cleaning point of view, we're providing them with time to get back and do, give their weekends back, basically. Look, Canberra, I think we've never struggled for work here in Canberra. There's always plenty of cleaning work to be done. So that would be my thing. It's just a good place to run a business. And if I look at cleaning, the work that we do is going from house to house to house. Generally speaking, we're doing house cleaning for people. If we're doing regular house cleaning for people. Canberra is so easy to get around. I can get from one end of Canberra to the other in 35-40 minutes with one set of traffic lights, sort of thing. So it's very easy to get around compared to, I guess, the Sydney particularly, but Melbourne as well, probably these bigger cities where you couldn't have clients that far away because you'd be stuck in traffic for too long. So,
and I think we surveyed the hourly rates a few years back, and I think Canberra came up as the highest hourly rate for general cleaning. So that's a big credit to you guys as well.
Yeah, look, we've had cleaning franchisees making anywhere from $60 to $90 an hour quite regularly. So
I'll keep that in mind, mate. If I lose my job here,
I'll do you a special deal.
Thank you. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years, Steve?
Look, probably I'll still be around. I've got no plans to move on. No plans to move on. I'd like to have double the amount of franchisees, I reckon.
Yes. Yeah.
Currently got. And probably, as much as it's going to make me sound like a complete old fart, I reckon probably planning for retirement.
Really?
Yeah, planning.
Why?
Not necessarily doing, but planning.
Janine's at home now helping you with the business, so that's probably a good thing. You can work together, and that's kind of semi-retirement in some ways anyway, really, because you're sharing the load. Yeah.
She's got different skills to what I have. So, you know, in sort of she's a more of a, I guess, policies and procedures and that side of stuff, paperworky side of stuff that she's very good at, and contracts and things, that's her experience. So whenever any of that type of thing comes on board, she's a really good help with that side of the business.
Does she have any interest in doing a newsletter?
I can ask her, but I'll ask if you like.
No. We'll discuss that later, okay?
Yeah, just a small fee. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. Look, mate, I can talk to you for hours, and I just don't want to drag on our time here. Do you want to add something before we go? And would you mind? Do you want to catch up again, say in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I haven't got anything that I want to finish on this time. I think. Yeah, no,
Well,
that's
we
all.
haven't spoken about your knighthood. You got knighted within the gyms group.
Well, I have. Yeah. So I at this point in time, as far as I know, I'm the only officially knighted franchisor in the group.
Yeah. True.
You want to tell a story about that?
Yes, go on then. Go on.
So as I hinted to before, so when I a while back split off part of my region and sold that to Sharon Connell, who's now obviously the divisional franchisor for Dog Wash. In Jim's live sessions that Jim does every Wednesday night, early on, Jim will often talks about Sharon and how fantastic Sharon is, and Sharon this and Sharon that. She's the golden girl.
Yeah.
And I actually put a comment through and said, hey, I actually sold a franchise to Sharon.
Yes.
What do I get for bringing her into the group? Surely I've got to,
Yeah.
you know, get something. And he
Yeah.
jokingly said, oh, we'll give you a knighthood. We'll knight you. And I said, okay, all right. So when I was actually down in for some training late last year, and Jim did his live thing with an audience, and where I was in the audience, and I said, hey, you promised me a knighthood. I'm here to collect. What are we going to do about it? So he actually, on the spot with a butter knife, knighted me. So, yeah.
Well deserved, mate. Bringing on someone of Sharon Connell's caliber has really changed the whole gyms group dynamic. And in fact, in some ways, changed my life, you know. And on that note, you know, I've purchased myself a little holiday house in Cyprus, and I call that the Connell House because of the sale proceeds of the excellent work that she did. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
You're welcome.
I won't hold you, mate. It was lovely chatting with you.
And you.
I appreciate you giving me your time, and I know you're a busy bloke. We'll catch up again soon because we've got so much to talk about, okay?
Sounds good. No worries.
All right,
Thanks for your time. Thanks, Haydar. See ya.
Bye.